Hi, my name's Adam. Welcome to the channel. Thanks for joining us today. Today we're going to talk about TFSAs, tax-free savings accounts for 2022. Okay, the tax-free savings account is one of two places only that you can actually grow your money tax-free: your principal residence and the tax-free savings account. If you're not using a tax-free savings account, you need to start using it in 2022. So let's break it down and get you informed so that you can properly use it in the year ahead. So let's just quickly cover what is a tax-free savings account. A tax-free savings account is much like an RRSP. It's an umbrella. Within the umbrella or under the umbrella, you can have different types of investments. So you can invest in GICs, bonds, stocks, mutual funds, ETFs. When you invest under that TFSA umbrella, you can grow your money tax-free. Okay, so if you put in $50,000 and it grows to $70,000 and you take it out, your $20,000 gain is absolutely tax-free. Now, when you put money into a tax-free savings account, you don't get any tax break going in. With an RSP, if you put $50,000 into an RSP, you get a tax deduction for that. On a TFSA, you don't. It's after-tax money going in, but everything comes out tax-free. Most people watching this, you want to complement your RSP and your TFSA. Get the tax break on the RSP, but grow some money tax-free over here. So use it in combination. So let's quickly talk about TFSA contribution limits. If you were 18 years old in 2009, that means as of today, if you've never used a TFSA account, you can put in $81,500. That is your contribution limit. Now, if you were not 18 in 2009, you start gaining contribution room when you're 18, okay? Some provinces like BC, you start gaining contribution room at 18. You cannot actually open a TFSA account until you're 19. So if you live, let's say in BC, and you turn 19 in 2022, you can actually open up a TFSA account when you turn 19, and you have 2 years of contribution limit. So we'll put up the chart right now of every year of contribution limit. Again, it bounced around. It started at $5,000, it jumped up to $10,000. It's at $6,000 a year right now, and that will continue to increase with inflation, or if the government decides to absolutely change it altogether, which we know will probably happen at some point. Essentially, let's assume you've never put money into a TFSA and you're in your 50s, and January 1st, 2022, you said, I got some money, I'm going to top up my TFSA, and you put in $81,500. So you've maxed out your TFSA for 2022. You have no more contribution limit. You leave that $81,500 in for the year and it grows. And in November, you need that money. Emergency comes up and that money's grown to $100,000. You had a great year on your investments. It's grown to $100,000 in November. And you pull the whole $100,000 out. You cannot, I'll say that again, you cannot put any more money in 2022. Even though you pull that $100,000 out in November, you can't put anything back in November or December. You have to wait till January 1st of 2023. It's not a savings account. It's not in and out like that. Once you pull that $100,000 out, that comes out. You cannot make any more contributions to your TFSA until January 1st. On January 1st, 2023, what is your contribution limit? It's $106,000. $100,000 that you pulled out in November, and the new $6,000 in 2023. If they change that, it'll change. But whatever you pulled out, if your $81,500 grew to $500,000 and you pulled that out, on January 1st of next year, you get $500,000 plus any new contribution room for that year. Okay, it's not $81,500. A lot of you think that you only get that $81,500 to carry over and the rest is lost. No, it grows your contribution limit. Let's say that $81,500 in November was worth $50,000. You bought some stocks, they did really bad. It's at $50,000, but you need the money and you have to pull it out. January 1st, you have $50,000 plus new contribution limit, so probably $56,000. Again, if your contribution limit is $81,500 and you put in $75,000 and you pull some out and put some in, pull some out, you're going to eventually put more than $81,500 in throughout the year. Let's say you put in $70,000. You still have $11,500 to put in. So let's say you put in $70,000 and then a few months later you needed some of that. So you pulled out 10. So now you're down to $60,000. You still only have $11,500 you can put in. So later in the year, you get $20,000 inheritance. You can only put in $11,500. Remember your contribution limit. That's the maximum you can put in. Doesn't matter how much you pull out. How much you pull out will affect your contribution room the following calendar year. But this calendar year, 2022, figure out what your contribution room is at the beginning of the year and that's all you can put in for the rest of the year. Next up, I want to cover some misconceptions that a lot of you leave comments on, and we're actually going to do a video within the next week going through the comments in our TFSA mistakes, 5 TFSA mistakes video, but I want to cover a few of them right now in this video. So misconception number 1 is that dividends paid to you from a corporation that you are invested in within your TFSA count as contribution earned. So let's say you own RBC stock within your TFSA and it pays you a dividend. That does not affect your contribution earned. That's considered just growth in the account. So when you get that dividend in your TFSA, you can reinvest it. It is not considered TFSA contribution. So one misunderstanding that a lot of people have as well is that if you own a US stock, or if you own anything that pays a US dividend, there is a 15% withholding tax in your TFSA account. So again, it's a small price to pay. In my opinion, I still hold US stocks in my TFSA account. I like the diversification of it. But a lot of you I talk to, you say, no, I only own Canadian. I don't want to get that US dividend stock because the 15% withholding tax. Remember, it's 15% on the dividend only. Now, the last misconception I want to cover here, and again, we're going to do a video covering a lot of misconceptions, but if you become a non-resident, can you still have a tax-free savings account? And the answer to that is it depends what country you move to. Most countries don't see a TFSA account as a tax-free savings account. The US is a perfect example. If you move to the US does not see it as a tax-free savings. So although you pay no tax in Canada on that account, you'll pay it in the US. Every country is different. I'm not a tax professional when it comes to cross-border stuff, but you want to make sure that you understand, can I hold this or does it make no sense to? Next up for TFSAs for 2022 is TFSA mistakes. And I want to make sure if you're investing in a TFSA in 2022, that when you set up your account, you set it up properly. Now, there's a difference between a successor holder and a beneficiary. If you have a spouse or a common law partner, you want to set up a successor beneficiary. Your spouse or common law partner should be listed as your successor beneficiary on your tax-free savings account. Anyone else has to be a beneficiary. You cannot, and I get this question again and again and again, you cannot name a child or a grandchild or anyone else. If they are not your spouse or common law partner, they cannot be a successor holder. And the reason you want to do that is if you pass away, let's say you and your spouse each have a TFSA and you're maxed out, and you pass away, your account goes on to them. They basically take over your account, whether they have contribution room or not. Okay, so let's say both your TFSAs are maxed and they've grown and they're both worth $100,000, just for simple math, and you pass away. Your spouse will get your $100,000 of TFSA, which means that they now have a tax-free savings account of $200,000. If you name your spouse or common law partner as a beneficiary, there is a way to still get that over to them and like without contribution room, but there could be more taxes, some penalties, some fees, there's more filings. It's just way more complicated. If you don't have a spouse or common law partner, then you can name a beneficiary, absolutely. It'll still pay out tax-free, but they'll need contribution room to invest that money. So let's say you're leaving your $100,000 tax-free savings account to a nephew. That nephew, when you pass away, would get your $100,000, but they would need contribution room of $100,000, which they probably don't have in their TFSA room to put that full amount into their TFSA. Okay, that's the difference between the two. Okay, so now you've opened up your TFSA account. You've never had one before. Maybe you do have one, you're just not sure how it works. Now, how do you invest in TFSA? And a lot of you just get confused. And I don't blame you for being confused, because when the TFSA was launched in 2009, it was kind of pushed as a savings account. It is called a tax-free savings account. Now, it should be called a tax-free investing account, because if you just put that money into savings, currently, you're probably getting 0.1, 0.2, maybe you're getting a high interest savings of 1.1, 1.2%. Does it really matter if it's tax-free or not? Okay, start letting your TFSA work for you. Now, again, I'm not going to tell you what to invest in, because you need to go through a proper risk profile questionnaire, talk to your investment professional. That's not my job. My job is to say you're probably underutilizing your tax-free savings account. Remember, outside of your principal residence, this is the one place you can invest, grow this money, and then take it out tax-free. If you're growing it at 0.5%, 1%, you're really wasting that account. I'd say over 50% of you watching this video, your TFSA accounts are not working for you. They're working for someone else that's charging you fees. The tax-free savings account is a powerful tool in retirement because it's a lever account. I talk about a lever account with our clients. When you need more money in a year, but you don't want to pay more tax, that's where you pull it from. If you have another year with, no travel and you're not spending all your money that you would otherwise, then you can top up your TFSA. It's kind of that lever account in and out. You want to make sure you have a nice size TFSA account heading into retirement. Okay, if you're not retired yet, start building that up. If you're in retirement and you don't have one, let's get one set up for you. Let's figure out how to fund it. Let's start building up that TFSA. You want that lever account in retirement. It'll create a lot of flexibility and help you save tax. So I want to cover off one little Easter egg that I get asked quite a bit actually is, can I invest in crypto within my TFSA? Now, I'm not saying you should invest in crypto or shouldn't. This is not what this is about. But I get the question a lot, can I? And the answer is yes. And we did a full video on it. I'll link it above. But we talked about, yes, you can invest in crypto within your TFSA. There are quite a few companies now in Canada. The US is just starting to roll it out. But in Canada, you can actually buy ETFs that invest in crypto. So there's a lot out there. Just Google it, do your own research. But you are able to buy ETFs in your TFSA. And there are crypto ETFs. So thanks for joining us in this video. Again, if you don't have a TFSA heading into 2022, make sure you set one up. It's a powerful tool. Start saving away in there. Maybe you're saying, you know what, Adam, I shove all my money into an RSP. I'm in a high tax bracket. I need the tax savings. That's great. When you shove money into an RSP, what do you get? Hopefully you get a tax refund. I encourage you to take that tax refund and lump it into your TFSA account and start building that up with your tax refund. Instead of taking your tax refund and buying a new Dodge Ram or whatever you're doing and wasting it away, go throw it in a tax-free savings account. Let that money start building for you tax-free as well. It's a great account to have. We do financial plans every single day for Canadians. And I can tell you, people that have a well-funded TFSA account, we can do much more tax strategy around their overall portfolio and income plan because we have that lever account. We can put money in, put money out on a tax-free basis. It's flexible, it's convenient, and it'll save you a lot of headache in retirement. So start building that tax-free savings account. Happy investing in 2022. Thanks for joining us in this video. We'll see you in the next one.